Sorry about that. I do need to mute my YouTube so that we are not getting a replay of whatever thing I'm saying. So I think we are good. So folks, thank you for being here tonight. We have a lot to talk about. I also do want to take a moment to say that it looks like we are following our typical African time. But I'm hoping that that is not going to be the case here, because we do really have a lot to talk about. The issues before us, the need for a program that truly captures who we are as a people, especially when those moments come that are so confusing, that demands community support, that demands family support, that we are there for each other. That is what the Family Assistance Program is about. That as an organization that has been in existence now for close to 4 decades, we have everything it takes to stand by and do well by our members. Tonight, folks, our president, our executive president and CEO of our organization has listened to all the recommendations, all the deliberations, all the commentary that has come in from all the chapters as they pertain to the Family Assistance Program, FAP, and has summed them up into a forward-looking document that will be presented tonight. But given the importance of tonight's deliberation and discussion, it is critically important that we do so with a full house. So, Mr. President, I'm going to be craving your indulgence to please give our members some time to join us before we can get this town hall on the way. They always say that in communication, you've got to know your audience, and we know our audience. And our audience truly believe that time is very elastic. Time can be stretched. That 6 p.m. Central or 7 p.m. Eastern can be stretched to 6:10 or 6:15. But we do want to have a full house, because we do want to ensure that this discussion do not fall into the realm of hearsay. So I am going to have that, an interlude of music as we continue to, celebrate culture. I'll be sharing that, putting that back on the screen, so that we give it a moment here for others to join us. I'll also be putting on the chat so that they know that the reason we are not already doing the presentation is because we are being considerate to allow for those who are experiencing technical difficulties to join. I did set up the Zoom such that as you are joining muted, but you have the ability to unmute yourself when the time comes for you to want to ask questions. So I am going to get us back some of the that beautiful talk to come back on the screen while we hold off for just a moment for more of our members to join us. Thank you, folks. Thank you for being here. You are BFU. That is truly what it is. It is you that make up the organization. So thank you. Some music, and then we get going. Put that back on the screen.
Oh,
All right, folks, it looks like there were some audio issues. I just got a couple of people saying they cannot hear or that the volume was down, but that also has taken us to about 11, 12 minutes after the hour. And I am looking at the attendance right now, and we are at about 21 members tuned in. For those who are just joining, we are taking a moment to appreciate you for being here and acknowledging the fact that we've established as maybe as part of our DNA that we like to stretch time a little bit. Our wish will have been that at the time assigned, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time, everyone will have already been on for us to just get going on the presentation for tonight. Given its importance, our hope was that there was going to be, and there's still, I think, it's excitement about what we'll be sharing tonight, because it truly it's part of who we are, right? Being there for one another, especially when that need is there, and it is the route that all of us are passing through. And so, Mr. President, what do you suggest we do at this time? Should we just go on, because we need to be respectful of those who are already here right now? And what do you say we do at this point?
All right. Thank you so much, Anton, and thanks to everyone who is here. I really appreciate you joining in. It's very important. As much as we need numbers, it is equally very important that we're effective in what we do. And being effective may not always, all the times, entail having 100% participation to get the ball rolling. So I think it is very important that we get going and share the information that's available, receive the feedback or the interaction that we're going to have from those who are present here. And we're moving from there. We then update the document to the final draft and then share, because I believe it's something so critical that we just have to get going and see where we end at. So I think we should start.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. President. Folks, we are going to have our President and Chief Executive Officer present what you all have sent in. It is going to be a PowerPoint. I will be begging that as he goes through the information that you can send in the questions via the chat, or you can keep the questions so that at the end of the prepared material, we can then go through and truly have a conversation about what this family assistance program is about and what it means for you. Okay, so without much ado, Mr. President, why don't you go ahead and share your screen, the PowerPoint, and then we can have the ball rolling here.
Okay. All right. I think where's my, okay, good. I'm sure everyone can see my screen right now.
It looks good.
Okay, good. Again, I want to welcome everyone to this town hall. It's a much awaited opportunity that I had planned, to have a conversation with you on the BFU Family Assistance Program, FAP. Others may call it Bamkinge in our, native language, which is a common phrase that we use when it comes to assisting each other. As the Executive Vice President has stated, I need not belabor the point, and the first screen that you have here just tells you the essence of what I was saying. We just have to keep going. We talk, and then we start doing stuff to make sure that the talking can end up in a very a realistic goal, achievable things that we need to have for our community. It's something that has undergone a lot of work, and I want to start by thanking everyone who sent in their feedback, every chapter that participated. The quality of the feedback that we have just shows the depth and the interest of those who appreciated the value that there is in this program. So I want to thank everyone who took the time. Some of the chapters were so outstanding because they took it to heart and had very deliberative discussions on this program, just signifying the importance that they attach to it and the impact that this can potentially have on our community. So I want to thank everyone who contributed to this program, and I'll be moving on. Basically, what we'll be doing this evening is just kind of, 5 major slides that I have here, just an overview of what FAB, where we are right now, and what is in FAB for you. What are the benefits that you stand to gain from this program? What is the value proposition that we are making to you and to our community so that our members can benefit from? Then we will look at, how do you participate in FAB? And the last but one slide would be, how is FAB going to work? And what are we going to do to move forward from here? As I stated earlier, the Family Assistance Program, FAB, or Kibam, we have discussed this all along. I believe this is, if not the only program that BFU has ever attempted, as a group, to help its members, directly, to make sure that when we stand with the mantra, "With we be will," which we literally translate as who you are is a reflection of those around you, that we really mean what we state in that mantra, and that we live the mission of the organization of BFU-USA. So it is critically important that we take time to deliberate on this and see exactly that we live the mission of BFU-USA, which is with the will be will. What we're going to do is look at this based on the feedback that you guys have provided. We're going to look at this program from 3 main approaches, which is the traditional annual contributions, which is we put up a FAB program that every year we're going to be contributing money towards this program. Or we look at the option of the event or incident-based approach, which will be when an incident happens, we come together and see what we can contribute to help that family which is bereaved. Or we take the hybrid approach, which is the traditional and the incident-based approach. And that's why we call it the hybrid. And all of this is just based on the 3 approaches I'm putting here, are based on the feedback that we had. I'm not going to be going back in the original document that we have, because that one is a step, the launching part that we had. But just to take it from the feedback that we've had and what we think will be the most appropriate way that we can do to achieve this program. So the next slide here will be on the overview of the program. My screen is a little bit, let me see here. So overview of the of the program. Now, as I said, the FAB would basically be for BFU members. And this is now the value proposition that we have based on the feedback that all of you have contributed towards the original draft document that we had. And why I'm so passionate about this program is just the fact that we as a community, we are as strong as our weakest link, and if we stand together to help each other, just based on the mere fact that we are active members of BFU-USA, I think we'll build a very, very strong community, because the bond will be so hard that we will not have that weak link that can break the chain that holds us together. So this is a BFU program, and I will base on active BFU members, as will be reported by the chapters. Now, we will not go into the definition of who an active BFU member is at this point in time, because that will be something that we treated on the the constitutional amendment that will be coming up at the next convention. And I just want to state here, that's something that I'm working with the Constitutional Committee to submit some of the amendments that we think will help in defining who an active member of BFU-USA is. And this active membership definition will apply to all the chapters across the board. We will not have a situation where each chapter defines its own membership differently from another chapter. So we'll have a membership definition that applies equally across all chapters of BFU-USA. And I think that this program, just to emphasize the value proposition, is a very big deal, in my opinion, that we can be having a situation where we gather at the convention, enjoy what we enjoy. Because, I mean, for me, I don't know about you, convention is the lone cultural event within the year where you go there and you really feel at home. And particularly that some of us have not been able to visit home for obvious reasons for a very long time. So I think it's something that if we can go to conventions, celebrate our culture, enjoy ourselves, create that family bonding, and still be able to help each other significantly in times of need, then we must be living what BFU, actually the mission of BFU is. So what are we proposing as benefits in this program? I want to put that in two separate columns. We have the adult member who are active members of BFU registered, and then the minor or the dependent members of our community, which will be our kids who are under 21 or our parents that are living with us. Some of them, like retired, or who are dependent on us as primary breadwinners for the family. So on the first adult members, we are looking at a situation where the benefits that will be paid to members for the first 2 years will be $10,000 for each death that happens to an active member. And on the third year, we will be proposing that benefits be increased to $15,000. We are making this proposition based on the assumption that we will be using the hybrid model where we will be proposing that for the first 2 years, each member who is registered will pay $100 for each year, which means the first year, $100, the second year, $100. And then on the third year, we assuming that not so many deaths occur or so many events occur that will require disbursement from this initial funding capital, then we can now raise the benefits to $15,000. So if it happens that a lot of things happen and we have to pay out so much, we can then have a conversation at that third year to see if we can still maintain the $10,000 while building up more capital base before increasing the benefits to $15,000 or not. So that is the basis on which we are proposing this two-tier benefit scheme at this point in time. And for the minors, which are kids that are below 21, we're proposing for the first year, if it happens, God forbid, we'll provide $7,000 to the family, and then on the third year, we can provide up to $10,000, just based on the same annual contribution as I've explained. And one of the things I want to really emphasize here is the fact that sometimes when we hear this amounts, we think that, oh, let's make it $20,000, let's make it $15,000, or let's make it $25,000. Let us just step a little bit back and realize that if you look at it from an investment perspective, you would know that for an individual to be able to serve $10,000 for that benefit, you have to live 100 years and contributing $100 every year. And I don't know how many of us are going to live up to 100 years. And if you are looking at 15,000, you're talking about 150 years, how many of us are going to live up to 150 years? So let's just realize that we should propose something that is feasible, that we can, as a community, make it work. Because when we're paying out these amounts of money, the kids are there. If something happened to the kid, we'll still be able to stand up for the family of that kid. But the kid is not paying anything into the scheme. They're what we call riders. So I just want us to put that practical perspective into consideration when we proposing the benefits that should be paid out to each member. And if we do this, I think that this proposition that we're putting here on the table makes the most sense, to start off this program. We want to make sure that at least we have a solid base which can help us, continue this program, make this program sustainable, than to say, okay, let's start with 15,000, and before you know, you have 3-4 days within a year, and then we get into a very crisis management position. So I want you guys to keep that in mind as we move on. Okay, on the next slide, we're looking at the membership eligibility and the subscription. As I indicated, the membership eligibility will be defined, active membership in BFU will be defined in the Constitution. So that's something that we're not going to be discussing here today. But to participate in this FAB program, you must be an active BFU member. And parents who are living with active BFU members here will be qualified as eligible writers to participate in the program. I want to make a quick distinction here between parents who are living here and actively working, and parents who are retired back home and are living here with the parents and not being economically viable. If you are a parent, and when we get into the BFU membership definition, you may realize that I'm not saying that that's what will happen, but I'm looking at a scenario where a parent is living with the child or kids here. He cannot be, if one of the conditions of being an active member of BFU would be that you have to participate in hosting, we cannot expect those parents to be hosting when they're here in retirement. So those are some of the things that we have to consider that may not apply equally across the board for active BFU members who are here. So I just want to point out that when we talk of eligible riders and we're putting retired parents there, yes, we know there are some of the parents who are here, they've worked here, they're retired here, they can still host because this, like, their home, they've been living here all their lives, their active economic life. So those are different from our parents who are coming from home just basically to live with parents, raise grandkids, and they're no longer doing anything here in terms of an active economic life. So that is one different thing that I want to clarify based on the eligible riders. So each participating member must be, like I said, must be an active BFU member, and for you to participate in FAB, you must be cleared by your chapter, because all of this membership definition will be very, very implemented at the chapter level. That's one of the reasons that we, in my administration, has put chapters as the primary engine of the union. We want to empower chapters. And when we're talking about FAB will be things that is a program that will be administered at the chapter level, even though you're going to have someone who oversees the operations of the program, who is qualified, the collection of payments, and certification of debts and stuff like that will be things that we'll be working very closely with the chapter, because everybody is living at that chapter, and we expect that chapters are the ones that know their members best. So in terms of looking at which parent is qualified as a rider, we live in our communities. We know our members that are here with their parents. So when we combine that with other paperwork that we may be requesting, that would be something that is easy for us to ascertain. So it's not like something that is coming from somewhere. So members must register using their real names that are in their documents, so we shouldn't have people, presenting themselves in official application as, I don't know, with their titles, when their names on their papers is different from what they have as titles. So membership subscription. The membership subscription is kind of easy and straightforward, as I've put here. These are things that will be administered at the chapter level, and each member, if we take the hybrid model, which I think is the most pragmatic for us, the hybrid model will mean that for the first 2 years, the annual contribution will be $100 for every active member, and dependent minors will just ask parents to enroll them with a token fee of $10 annual, and that is a one-time registration for you to enroll your kid. And then the retired parents, like as explained, they are just our parents that have worked back home. They're here just to take care of their grandchildren. They're not economically viable, so they're not doing anything here. So those are what we would define as being retired parents. Then one of the things that I think we should kind of put in place is the fact that if we agree to go ahead with this program, we expect that every member of BFU who is active currently should be able to enroll in this program. If you do not enroll, I think we should consider giving some wait time if such a member subsequently enrolls into the program. Because I think as together we can make this thing work if all of us pool resources together, and we don't want a situation where some people stay behind and others move forward. And one thing that I think we should equally be considering very critically is the fact that every new member who joins BFU will put the same contribution of $100 for the first year, $100 for the second year, and then so that everybody is at par in the program. So that is what we expect to do going forward. And on the third year, then we go back to incident or event contribution, and that's how the program is envisaged to work. One beautiful thing that I think I should point out equally here is that if we do this hybrid program, it is very, very easy for us to pay benefits from the first year. We don't have to have a wait time before paying any benefits. So if we take the hybrid, that everybody's going to contribute $100 for the first year, $100 for the second year. If anything happens, once members enrolled, they are qualified to have those benefits if an event happens, which merit them. This table here just basically to give us an idea of what, if everything moves on well, the contributions are likely going to be. As we are taking the hybrid program, the registration aspect of it will drop and just go in for the straightforward $100 contribution for each member that is registered to the program. So if we look at the rosy scenario where every member who is supposed to be at the chapter based on the data that we have, we should have about 400 and something, 450 members of BFU in all the chapters if everybody enrolls. For the first year, we'll be looking at $45,000. Kind of taking a 20% knockdown on that number, we'll end up somewhere at 36,000. So I just believe that if we do that for 2 years, we're looking at somewhere between 70,000 and 90,000 kind of spread. And that should be a very solid, call it, base capital for us to launch this program. And if you're hearing noise, bear with me. I'm a parent, and I have to manage some of these young ones who are around the house. So there is some trouble at the door there. So, and then on the slide here, how the program is going to work. Basically, we'll have an administrator who will be appointed by or nominated by the national president, and that person will have to be confirmed by the board of directors, and then he will be the one to manage the program. But he will still be on a daily basis be reporting to the national president, and he will be working in collaboration with the chapter presidents, or the chapters may be able to designate their own specific member who will be the chief contact person for the program at the chapter level, so that everything else that we need to make sure the program works well is carried out effectively. Some of these things we include because we have to be updating membership addresses and new recruits or new members who are registered to make sure that the program is up to date. So we'll have those key persons that will be there to administer the program. And one key thing that I want to mention is because we are a 501c, talking with legal experts, to get opinion on what is going on. The most likely scenario is that if we get implementing this program, we will have to create a unique entity that should be able to handle this program, so that we take it outside of BFU realm, because we do not want a situation where somewhere along the line that may create an issue with our compliance reporting with the IRS. So that is one thing that is very, very important that we must consider as we move forward with this program and get it implemented. So this is the last but one slide, and it's just basically summing up the fact that from the conversation that we're going to have today, we will now update the final draft that we will present to you all at the convention, so that we can together adopt as the final document on this the Family Assistance Program, and everything else would be now a legal agreement on all of us to make sure that we make this thing work and work well for our people. As I indicated, let's take a step back and just think of a situation where you can be putting $100, for a chance to be helped with 10,000 or 15,000. I think that is that should be like a no-brainer.
Mr. President, you are muted. Mr. President, you are muted. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I hear you. Okay. Do you hear me now?
Yes. For some reason, I lost you there for a minute when in the last slide you got muted, and then the slide went off the screen. The very last slide you had. I don't know whether there was a technical glitch. So
yeah, I thought it was you that was messing up with my. I'm sorry.
No, blame it on me. I know.
Sorry about that. Okay.
No, bring the last slide back on the screen, please.
That is the last one here.
The very last slide, the way forward. Claudette Litica, why is Claudette Litica the one showing up? It's still not working. The last slide is not up. You are muted, and I'm seeing it.
Yeah, do you hear me?
I can see you.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay, it's the same thing that happened to my screen. So let me let's just
talk about it. Don't bring back that slide. It looks like when you bring that slide, it's Claudette that comes up.
yes, because I thought maybe it was coming from you. Okay, so I mean, basically that was the end of it. I was just saying that let us just come together and make sure that we can implement this program, and the way forward is I was just emphasizing the fact that if for those of you that maybe looking at numbers, if you have a chance of putting $100 in anticipation that anything happens, you will have $15,000 or $10,000 of assistance. I think that is a no-brainer, even if you're doing it on a yearly basis. As I indicated, there's none of us here that I think will live an active life beyond 100 years, talk less of 150 years. So if we look at it from that level, you realize that because we can stand together and stand together in good numbers, it will be possible for all of us to help each other, so that we can, live a very, have some help, from our community, which will make everyone feel appreciated, make everyone feel proud of being an active member of BFU-USA. And the goal is, we call it We Family Union. It is huge. And I think this is something that can equally add that more value, that people will find that being a member, an active member of this organization, is much more than just enjoying our culture. It is about, coming in and, helping our fellow members, in times of need. So let me leave it there, and then we can have more conversation on what we can do, or the way we can move forward from here.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. President. I want to take a moment to say, job well done in articulating what the Family Assistance Program is about, and in sharing the rubric that will make it work. Please, for those who have tuned in, and I know we have members who are online here with us on Zoom, and then we have also members, because of work constraints and where they are and every other thing that are in between in our digital world, they are joining us via our YouTube TV channel. That this is your moment to ask questions. For those who are on YouTube, please, I'm going to be inviting you to send in your questions via the BFU-USA WhatsApp forum, because what I learned is that if I turn on my YouTube and mute the sound, then you all get muted. So if you have questions, please don't send it via the chat on YouTube. Just send it via the chat on WhatsApp. Just send it, via the chat on WhatsApp, and then I can be able to read those questions aloud for us to address. I'm going to be moving to a more of a gallery view here, just so that if anyone wants to get back on their video and raise their hand to ask a question, or indicate they want to ask a question even live, we can be able to handle that. We have an impressive number attending via YouTube and an impressive number attending via Zoom. So first question that we have is about members who are living in an area that is not covered, in a state, let me be very specific, that has not got a BFU chapter. We know that we have, a few chapters. We don't have 50 chapters per the 50 states of the USA. So what about members who are living in states that don't have a chapter? Dallas is the one state that has got even 2. So please, let's be very clear. Our big state of Dallas has got the
Texas, right?
Has got Dallas and has got Houston, but we didn't have some states, that many states actually that don't have chapters.
All right, if I may jump at that one, that's a very good question, and very helpful in the deliberations that we have. One of the things that we'll be emphasizing and pushing on is the fact that every BFU member have to belong to a chapter, even if you're living in a state without a chapter. If you guys have not reached the minimum number or met the requirements that are laid down to creating a chapter, then you have to affiliate yourself with a chapter that is closest to you. The idea of the preference for the closest chapter is just the fact that, you may have an opportunity where you could just jump into your car and join the rest of your brothers and sisters, attend a meeting and start creating that bonding. So that is a preference that the administration has, is to make sure that people be affiliated to chapters that are closest to where they live. And I emphasize that, that's one of the reasons that we just want that we as a community, we as members of BFU, it doesn't matter if you are in Anchorage, Alaska, you know, you should, if anything happens to you, we should take care of you the same as we take care of someone who is living in the heart of downtown DC, Minneapolis, Atlanta, or Dallas. So we treat everyone equally, because we should not, the help that comes to you should not depend on your last name or local where you live, or you know, your social or economic status. So we should treat everybody equally. So the idea there is belong to a chapter that's closest to you, and you know, make sure you comply with every criteria that we put out, you know, for chapter membership.
Excellent, Mr. President. I think that really articulates it very well. The Family Assistance Program is happening in the backdrop of a very sad event we just experienced with our very own Gwei, who passed away. Not everyone in BFU-USA is Gwei. Gwei truly is, his passing on reminded me of our legend, former Iran, that attracted people from all over the country. Not everybody's going to be a Gwei. And DC chapter took care of that. But we want to put a level field in which you can be very active in the chapter, but you don't have the popularity that Gwei enjoyed. In fact, by the time Gwei passed on for about a few years, Gwei was no longer a member of BFU-USA, but we treated it as a sort thing. So it wasn't really a BFU-USA. So I'm bringing that to really say that we want really democratizing our outreach to our people. Just so that if you don't have name recognition, not everybody can hold a position of responsibility, with which everybody can. We are reaching out to you, whether you are in Alaska, where there are just a few weird fun, or people from Bowie. This is critically important. The second thing is about closeness to a chapter. You don't even really need to be close to a chapter. BFU Minnesota is fairly unique in that even when we had our cultural insurance, we had members from other chapters as far as Georgia and Chicago being members of that program. One of
and DC.
As well as DC. Now we have members that are from Seattle, okay, from Washington State, that are members of our chapter. And they make a point of making sure that what is the chapter doing? What do we need to do? What is our trouble fund? What is it? They are the first people asking about that. That you don't even have to be very close to a particular state. It's about how committed you are to the activities of the chapter that you choose to make home. Because one, yes, BFU-USA, you know, we pay an annual contribution of $50 to become a member, but BFU-USA is made up of chapters. Chapters make up BFU-USA. And so being a member of a chapter, whether it is close to you or you are locally resident there, is critically important. And we have a member who would like to, who is doing the right thing. Gary, they raise their hand to ask a question. So you want to ask a question, you can also raise your hand, or you can put it via the chat. The other question about, do you have to be part of the chapter to, you know, physically present? I was responding to that from the chat. And Gary,
okay. Yeah, good evening, everybody. So thank you very much for that presentation, Mr. President, CEO. I think that the model that we adopted was a very good one. I do have a question. So when, let's say I'm a member and I have a child, we are paying $110 for a potential benefit of $17,000 or more than $20,000, right? For that particular amount of money. Are we going to be able to sustain that if we leave the child payment just at $10? Number two is for a retired parents, can we make it clear what amount they are going to be paying, please? Because on the line there, it just says that they pay the same amount as this person. I would rather we just put the amount there at $100 so that everybody is clear that it's $100. So those are my two inputs. Thank you very much. I'm calling, by the way, from the Chicago chapter.
Chicago. Thank you.
I be thinking long and hard about me taking it too.
Okay, sorry, there was a bit of interference. I've muted that just so that we have.
Yes, Gary, thank you so much. Those are very critical questions, and I just I can sense, you know, the passion with which you're asking that question and the care you want to make sure that we make this thing in a way that works. Yes, it will be good to clarify. I've just noted that we'll clarify that, you know, the parents are paying the same as active members. It's just that, you know, their level of qualification, we may have one thing that may not, that may be lacking, but yes, they will pay the same amount, and I will make that very clear in the final document that we'll be putting forward. On the potential 17,000, good arithmetic there from you. You know, I was like, why are you coming off with 17,000 again? So
17 and 25.
Yes, I get your point. Yeah, I got it very quickly. So yes, that is very true, and that's one of the reasons that I was saying, if we do the hybrid, which means for the first 2 years we contribute that $100, and we are blessed not to have, you know, so many events that will require us paying out benefits. That now forms the basis, what you call the lack of a better word, the caution, the capital, the caution that we'll have in the stabilization fund, if I may put it, on this program. Because after that first 2 years, we will now come into a situation where, when any of those incidents happen, we will call everybody to contribute towards what the agreed benefit is going to be. And that amount that we've contributed for 2 years will still be there intact, to make sure that if in 1 year we realize that there are so many of those things happening, then we can use that fund, pay for it, and try to refill it back, so that we always have that as a backdrop to whatever we're doing. But going forward, after the second year, everybody will have to contribute based on the numbers that we have, you know, to make sure that we pay the benefits that will be that we'll agree on, either the 15,000 or 17,000 or the 25,000, as you find the code.
And in addition, Gary, for those who come in, let's say we are very lucky, and that's our prayer, and the gods of our land are listening to us as we start this today, that our tears are not going to be flowing as we start this. This is a program that we wish we should not be doing it. We wish we didn't have to have a situation in which we are crying and have to reach out. But it's going to happen. But for those who will have paid into the fund, let's say for a couple of years and into the third year, and we have that beautiful caution that our members throughout the union, irrespective of where the chapter is, have not drawn on that cushion. Anybody is joining in, because there are going to be people coming from home and joining. Of course, they would need to pay into the fund, right? That's baseline. You need to pay into what every other person has paid in to qualify. Those who are part of the union right now, who have or who contribute for the next 3 years before we put a suspension, hopefully that we don't have a tragedy. Any other additional person will have to catch up. They will not just come in and just enjoy. Because you mentioned the sustainability part of it, which is critically important, right? So we want to be in a position in which we can make sure that we have a baseline, and also that we can sustain this. Now, God forbid that things happen. That is where our president is just saying, then we, as a family, because it is by family union, and I see a question coming up about arbitration. Language in contract must be indicated. So there is so here there is sometimes a difficulty in this. We are moving from a situation where we already had a cultural insurance that is from corporate America, and moving to what we do as a people, because this is from the heart. We do this because we care about our people. Okay, and we know not everybody has the same level of popularity, and it levels the playing field. When we adopt this, it's going to be the same for everybody, and it will eliminate chapters having to be like, we have these multiple dates now. Some of this is going 2 years. Somebody has not yet contributed. We should have sent an envelope. We have not sent an envelope, and all of that. So it can be very confusing for anyone who doesn't understand who we are as a people. But we are going to be able to sustain this together as a people. But we need to be able to start knowing that if, for God forbid, we have multiple events, then we need to do more to make sure that we can reach out to everybody. I like the comment from Gary is that I like that it levels the playing field, and which is true, because this is huge to me. The president and I, okay, many people know already in Tong BB. They know the president here. They know, I'm just going to be calling, they know the president, they know Shea Yungri, they know Shea Shemlo. They know, not everybody can have, they know Shufai, Wo, Arizona, Shea Bimi, Shufai Bimi. Not everybody can have the same level of popularity throughout the union. And our reach out to every member of our union should not be based on how popular they are. It really should be because they belong. They are a family member. A family member of BFU-USA. Once you're a family member of BFU-USA, it doesn't matter where you are. So long as you're participating in the chapter, your name doesn't have to be known by everybody. You get the same treatment.
Yeah, and thanks for that, Anton. This is something that we realize that this is not, we're not creating this concept from space. We're just personalizing it to our own community. You know, and we've reviewed documents, we've seen how these things are working. As long as we band together, we come together and build these chapters and build the groundwork, it is our thing to make sure it works. And as we move on, we will be learning from the experience as we move on, and then all of us can always advise on how to improve this scheme. And once the commitment is there, I believe we will get it done. It is just, there's no reason why we cannot get it done. We need to get it done because we cannot keep on doing what we are doing. I don't want to go back analyzing the numbers that we had in previous commercial insurance that Tung was referring to and what is happening with it right now. If there is any other person with a question or comment.
And I think what Shea Bill raised is very important, and we'll be using him also as going forward, like, you know, arbitration if there is an issue of conflict. And so, Shea Bill, I want to acknowledge your concern about arbitration. We are going to make sure that there is a clearly articulated way at which we handle any kind of conflict, but again, within the cultural construct that is BFU-USA, because that is separate from any other grouping that any other corporate institution may have. But it is critically important also that we acknowledge that and be prepared to make sure that we understand that there may be questions around why this and not that. So thank you, Shea, That's the
It-
reason that's the reason you are sharing Giri, right? So we'll be using you as well. So any other question?
It looks like one
Yes,
Pascal here.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a one.
Please go on.
Category of parents. Those that have lived and worked here, they will pay $100. I want to make sure that I got it right. And then those who just came here to stay with their children and be helping babysitting the children, they will not pay anything. That the parents of the children will pay $10. Did I get it right?
Not quite, but thanks for listening and for your question. The parents who are here, they are going to pay the same amount, $100. Those who have retired and they are here, they are going to pay the same amount, $100.
Yeah.
So,
what about the parents? Because my worry is with those parents who came here to babysit. It's like maybe I didn't get it clear. Because my worry is, did they say that those ones will not pay anything, those who just came here to babysit? That's where my worry is. I want to get it clear.
Okay. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was referring to. Those are the parents who are referring to. Those are the ones I'm telling you that they will not be free. They pay equally $100.
Okay.
I mean, the parents who are coming here to babysit, they will pay $100.
Great. Okay. Okay. Because that was my worry. I didn't get it clear, and I was worried about that. I said, no,
thanks so much.
Wouldn't be nice if they don't pay something. The children are paying $10, and if those parents don't pay anything, then the scheme may start running into problems. That's where my worry was. Thank you for clarifying it.
All right. Thank you so much.
There is the additional question about
and Tum, there was Pascal who was speaking at the same time. Can we listen to him and then take your question?
Okay.
Please.
Thank you so much, Shays. I do appreciate this. I do have two questions, right? Two questions that particularly touches my chapter, and I'm so much concerned about having clarification around these areas. The first is we have members who are very active within a chapter or within my chapter, who are not true sons of SOP, but they've been participating, paying all their dues. They've been very, very active from day one. So having a program like this, is there any distinction? Should they be considered as, beneficiaries of this program? Or, I'm just going to ask if, the fact that they are participating in our cultural activities, but they are not true sons of SOP. So that's one question. And my second question is, as we are about to kick, or roll this program, which is very interesting, which is, I know it will benefit a lot of people. We have parents who come here for a very temporary stay, let's say 3-4 months. Let's say if a parent comes and they pay their membership and they go back home, and they happen to die back home or something happens back home and they end up in the USA, would they be covered? And if the question is yes, how about people who are here and they just pay for the parents who are back home? Would they also benefit from, in case anything happens to them? Why back home? So those are the two questions I have, or the two concerns that I really want to get an answer from.
Is this California?
Yes, California.
Yeah, thanks, Pascal. I just had one name there, so I was kind of trying to tie the voice to the name. So
okay.
Thanks.
Answer them. I just need you to know that the comments are saying those are great questions.
All right. Let me attempt, and we can have a conversation on that. If you look at even right now, that we're still going to be improving on a much more broader definition of qualifying active BFU member. BFU does not segregate his members into non or it's about you qualifying. Either you are, you know, as long as you buy to the mission of the organization, BFU considers you, and you are actively participating. BFU considers you currently as a member. We don't segregate between whether you are from SO or from BUI division. No, it's about the mission of the organization. If you buy the mission of the organization and you can, you know, you truly believe in the mission of the organization, yes, BFU has an open door for that, as long as you comply with that key criteria. So, so I just want to make it very summarily. No, we do not. If you have members in your chapter that are bona fide members of your chapter, they are qualified, you know, to participate in the program. So I want to make that answer that quick. The second one is about, I think what I would just sum as residence. And as I indicated, residence, we may get into legal definition of residence here and there, but if we get into practical definition based on what the executive vice president was referring to, we're dealing with things here within a cultural context. If we leave it to the broader definition of the corporate or the environment that we live in, then we get into some big complications. And what I'm trying to say here is simple. If you have a member who is living with their parents, I believe that the chapter will know that this particular member is living here with their parent. And because all of those definitions will come back to the parents or to the chapter certifying that this is a true member of their chapter by whatever criteria we're going to define, it equally goes without saying that if you claim that your parent is living here and people who are living around you cannot confirm the fact that your parent is living with you, then that does not come in as a qualified residence for our purposes here. So all of these things are things that we will have to work with our chapters, and it's the chapters that that the administrator will depend on to make sure that all of these conditions that we are putting in place are actually complied with. No, we will not be allowing people to register their parents who are living back home. If we do that, we're going to run into very big problems. This is about BFU members who are here and the dependents who are living here with those active BFU members. So that is a broader distinction that I'm going to make as concerns parents who are here and parents who just visit. If you just visit here for 2 months and you come for a meeting and they register you, you don't live here, you're just a visitor, and that does not qualify for residence in terms of the definition of our chapter membership. I don't know if you have anything to add to.
Yes, Mr. President. I think it is BFU-USA. BFU-USA. We can even have members who were once living here and they've decided to go back home. Once they go back home, they cease to become members of BFU-USA. BFU-USA is BUI Family Union, United States of America. And there is a need for us to have a delimitation of scope. And Mr. President, you said it very well. For those who are here in the United States, with their writers in the United States, who register in the program within the United States, the program provides coverage. So we need to be very clear about that and understand that and accept that, right? So that it makes it very clear. The question that also came in as I was talking is about, can a non-SO, was very specific to SO, be can a non-SO member become a BFU? Of course, it is BUI Family Union, it is not SO Family Union, right? There's a chapter that has their mint dance is Longsi, And the leader of that dance is not even just, it's not about boy. The person is not even from boy. The person is outside of boy, and that's the custodian of the Longsi dance in Georgia. So of course, a non-SOC person can be the president of BFU. It's all about membership, and it's all about who your chapter, because you have to start from the chapter. You're a member of a chapter, you're active member of the chapter, and you can be that. And so there's a hand that is up. Another question just came in through the chat, but there's an iPhone. There's no name attached to that, but please, there's a hand that is up. I cannot call by name, but thank you for raising your hand, please. Go ahead.
That was me, Ntum. Moderate. You can say my name, you know.
Now, yeah. Okay, now moderate.
I was confused a little bit because I don't know if there were discussions in the hall during our convention where they were saying that a non-Bui person cannot be the president of USA, but I know that was something that came up, and I don't know if that was adopted or so. And there are some chapters that have that as their bylaws. So that was one. And then the second thing was, can you stop the water, please? The second thing was if these people who are registered here for this initiative, if they're registered here and they die back home, would they be will they be paid? Would they receive the benefit? Because you know some of the insurances that we have around here, if you die back home, they won't pay. So that's one thing I wanted to know. So those are my questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Moderate. I think it's nice to know who was raising their hand. Mr. President, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Moderate, why should you be asking such tough questions?
There's need for us to know, President.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, of course, we have to ask the tough questions if we have to make our way through, right? And what I will say is this: our FAP program is going to, our family assistance program is going to function based on our chapters and what we define as being active members within our chapters. If a chapter member is certified as being an active member, then that benefit applies and he complies with everything that is enshrined within the program. If you are here and you work here, or you live here, your family is here, and you travel home for work, and not because you've moved, and your base is still here, and the chapter can ascertain the fact that you are still living here, I do not think we can be saying that you because you died in Cameroon, that you do not benefit from that. Because it is still that family that is here and based here and actively participating within our community, that is, we're trying to extend a hand of help, make sure that they can, do those final goodbyes in a much more, with a supporting hand, if I may put it that way. So, yes, I am aware of other things that the other programs that you are referring to. And I think this is one thing that is, that it should be unique to us. Someone is not going to sit in California and is trying to define or ascertain if the other member who is living in, I don't know what that extreme town in Minnesota is, whether that person is actually living there or is it. No, the people in Minnesota know their members and they're going to make sure that the information that's coming from there, it is certified by the chapter. So that's why I just want to make sure that if you happen to, if something unfortunate happens to you while you are out of here, and it is known for fact that you and your family are still based here, I don't think you should be refused the benefit.
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you so much. I want to acknowledge what Peter Minglo just said, and thank you, my brother. We're going to try to keep the conversation around just the FAP, and any related things will just be about the FAP. So thank you. We need all the help we can get to stay focused. So I appreciate that. Mr. President, you are very on point. This is truly about chapter empowerment. And it's again going back to leveling the playing field, because there is not going to be a permanent president of BFU-USA. There's never going to be a permanent EVP. It's always going to be chapters who know their members best. What this does is, instead of the chapter being the one dealing with a tragedy that happened to them, they know best who is a member, who is a rider, and the program is simply coming in to support. This is critically important because we are operating from that one keyword, which is family. Families and the farthest end of Northern California, and all the way to the shores of the Pacific, and from the Atlantic to the Pacific, or right down, wherever we are, right? And the chapters know best. Tawon Kuf, your hand is up. You are muted, my friend. You are muted. Yes, please go on.
Yes, thank you for giving me the mic. Now, I heard the president say we will vote at the convention. If that is correct, are we then going to wait to vote at the convention to start this program? Now, considering the fact that chapters have participated, sent in their contribution, their suggestions, have worked, I believe the chapters have already bought in, they've already voted in, and they are ready to go with it once the final draft is out, except the fact that we are still going to have a better definition of active members. But I think if I got it right, I would be suggesting that we don't wait till July to vote for this to start. If the final document comes out, I'm saying this from the position of Minnesota chapter that was in an insurance program which became unsustainable and we dropped out of it. So right now, we are not covered, having been covered for more than 10 years. Secondly, I would also love us to put I know there was a mention of residency. I would love us to put a language in. This is just my proposal. Put some sort of language, because we do have parents who come in, who visit, stay for 3 months, go back home, and are leaving no home. Now, we should not shy from the fact that we are Africans and that a lot of us can stretch the limit beyond a last limit. It doesn't matter. Being someone who was coordinating the Minnesota chapter, I know how much people try to stretch the boundary. If I wasn't strong enough, it would have been easy for some members to stretch certain things that are not really possible. In as much as we will listen to chapters, we should put a non-ambiguous language, a language that is very specific, that they cannot get around. Because people can claim residency when they are actually not resident here. And there are people who may be close to the one coordinating a chapter and may coerce that particular individual to insert a parent in it. I don't want us to shy away from how, I don't want to say crooked, how you could be slippery. Thank you.
Good point. All right.
Thank you, Wonko. Mr. Minglo, did you want to say something?
No.
Okay. I think, Mr. President, if I may, I think it goes back to what Shea Bill had mentioned before, and it's about arbitration, that this becomes a situation in which we need to be very, very stringent. We need to be very, very clear about coverage and what that means, so that there is no favoritism. It's a family, and chapters truly, yes, know who is a member. But I think if I went, think about what Koku is saying, is like there should be a little bit of kind of investigation, like every insurance, and we are not an insurance, just so this is being we are very clear here. This is not an insurance, but this is a scenario here that we need to verify. If I get you very well, Wonko, make sure that this is not a situation where somebody inserted a name just to take advantage of coverage. And I'd put that in writing, that will be verified. Mr. President, what do you think?
Yeah, you use a very good word there. We trust our chapters, we trust our executive at the chapter level. When it comes to this, we will not just take every information for what it is. When we take it, we equally have to do some due diligence to make sure that it is correct. And as I say, you will not just send a document between the bereaved family and the chapter president and we take it for what it is. Now, it will be made sure that that is public information and that there's no objection to that public information. So there will be some level of verification, clarification to make sure that what we are dealing with is what is right and not just information that is passed on by one or two persons and then we rely on it as being the truth. Of course, we still live in our communities. I want to emphasize that. And if you live in a community, people know you live in a community, and that's something that we want to rely on the chapters, because that is where the action is, and we want to empower them to be able to do those things and provide us information as much as we would like to see cross-check to make sure that there are no errors in the information. So I get to a point, and to the fact that we need to put some clarifying language, and the comments that you make, those are noted. Thanks so much.
And on the voting at the convention?
The other part
sorry, I missed that. Voting at the convention, I hear you. You see, I've been dealing with respective chapters. I have a feel of what is going on. I know the yearnings of some of the chapters, and to them, this should not be up for discussion. We just get on and do it. I get that. What I'm saying is, this is a document that is supposed to be ratified or adopted by the general body of the organization. Even if in principle we agree that we should be going, which I will advise chapters like yours, to prepare for it and start putting things in place. Let us do the right thing and get the document ratified to make sure that we have things in place. And like I said, if everybody else enrolls and we take I agree on the idea that we were going to use a hybrid model, then coverage is from the first year that we start participating, and that should make it very immediate, right? So let us just get things, prepare at the chapter level, anticipate that the program is going to be adopted, and let's just update what we have into a final draft schedule, and then people study it. If there is any language, like you said, that needs to be amended, we can amend it and then get it ratified at the General Assembly. I think that process is the best way to go, despite the need to get this thing done as of yesterday.
So the clarity here is, and the question is, are we going to wait for the convention to vote for this program? The General Assembly, as it stands today, is that we have a General Assembly at the convention. So at the convention, the General Assembly will need to vote to ratify this program for it to be binding. That is what our law says. And I am intrinsically biased because I'm from Minnesota, and we don't have coverage right now, and I would have been able to say, oh, let's get it going. But of course, we have bylaws that put us in place. I'm also responding to a question that came in through our chat, which is, are we going to wait for the convention to vote for this program? It's not the convention. The convention is where we are able to constitute a General Assembly. So what the constitution does for BFU-USA is that it allows for us to have a General Assembly. So for the General Assembly at the upcoming convention, there are going to be constitutional amendments. Fai Tao, in his comments, for those who are looking at the comments, said there is the article on membership factors on how we move forward with the FAP, Family Assistance Program. And that is critically important because this program pertains only to members of BFU-USA. And as you well know, our President and Chief Executive Officer ran on the idea of active membership in BFU-USA and at the level of chapters. And we are defining what that means. It's not just paying $50 and then hanging around and coming to conventions. So yes, there is a redefinition, and that is already in the works. And again, it will be part of that constitutional amendments that will include the Family Assistance Program. Our prayer, one goof is that at the level of Minnesota, nothing should happen. So let's let's pray, because we are without coverage. I don't know about the other chapters, but Minnesota is without coverage. Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Antum. And if I may just have to emphasize one thing here about this brought the common definition for membership in BFU. One of the key things, if I may say, is the fact that the proposal, which we will see is those things that we're still work in progress, is envisaging a situation where there will be a single payment, annual contribution to BFU. Chapters will not be charging whatever they want for chapter dues, while national is collecting their own national dues. There will be one payment as a BFU membership. You pay it, the chapter collects it, and that's it. National is not going to be asking you for another payment, or chapter cannot decide to ask you $100, while another one is asking $20, while the other one is asking $10. We'll have one common payment. And when you pay that, if you pay it in Minnesota and you move from there with your family within the year and go down to Houston or to Dallas, your membership, active membership definition is transferred as of that time, except you kind of elapse while you transfer to the new chapter. That payment, nobody arriving at your new chapter, nobody's supposed to ask you for any additional payment to become a member of that chapter. You are a member of BFU-USA who will be participating through the new chapter where you are moving to. So that is one key thing that I would like to just say. Yes, the idea of definition of membership is very critical. It's very critical for this thing to work. So it is very important that we work on that one and make sure that things work well. I think we are somewhere like 1.5 hours into this. Let's not talk too much and then lose track of the focus of this conversation. I don't know if there is still additional questions. If not, I think, Tom, except you have something to say, we may just see if we run up stuff and get to work.
No questions have come in. I did invite those who were watching via our TV channel on YouTube to send in questions via the WhatsApp chat, just so that I don't turn on my YouTube and then get interference. But I've not seen any question coming through the BFU-USA National Forum. I do have a hand up. Gary's hand is up. I've not seen any other hand up. So
Thank
again,
you for indulging me again, please. So
yes.
I put a comment on the forum. I wanted a clarification, please, on those members who choose not to join now, but do join later on, right? What, yes, I think I did ask that question. Are they going to benefit from this program immediately after they joined, or what is going to happen?
Okay.
Please, if you can clarify that. Thank you.
I like that. One thing that we commented on is the fact that at whatever point you join, you have to contribute to catch up to where the program is at. So 1 year into the program, if you join, you will need to contribute to catch up. So if you join, for instance, if the gods of our land, okay, the gods of the boy, have us go through 3 years of no crisis, in which we now have a cushion that we can work on. And of course, people are always going to continue to come into our chapters, continue to come into the US from home. Whenever they come, they need to contribute up to the point where others have contributed to the program to be in compliance with the program so that they can benefit. If you come in 1 year into the program, you catch up 1 year into the program. You come in 3 years after, you catch up 3 years. It is part of leveling the playing field, right? That is the idea. So there is no, so that we are not, yes, we're building a foundation that will sustain us into the future, but every other person who is joining us later on has to catch up. If we've stopped paying into the program, every new person who is joining us will need to pay in at what point that they have paid, that everyone who's started foundationally has paid in. Hope that clarifies that question.
Yeah, it does, but it also brings a lot of implications.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
Pascal, please.
Yeah, that's a very tricky point right there, right? So let's assume that a member who comes to the US and decides to join BFU National and, decide to join this program, how do we expect that person to pay, to catch up with, with the payment that, was due when this initiative started? I think it's important to kind of, focus on that aspect really, really well. I think what I've experienced in other insurance policies that, it's locally based, what they do is this: a member who once joined and decided not to contribute for one reason or the other, and decide to come back into the program, those are the cases where they need to catch up with all the payments. Understand? That's why we need to be very careful with matriculation, name orders and everything to make sure that people don't, dive in and out of the program. Once you're registered into this program, you don't just, decide to discontinue at will and don't want to come back maybe some other year. But for members who want to join, like fresh members who want to join or who decide to go into this program, I think you guys need to see it again on this, look around that point, because it's going to be like a punishment or discourage, because at the end of the day, we need numbers, right? We need members, we need numbers, we need high subscription. to make sure that we have enough to pay out, we have enough to keep things running.
Sure.
So I think if you want to, bill somebody high because he has decided to join maybe 2 years after the program, I think it would discourage a lot of members. But if a member joins today and for some reason, they discontinue payment and they want to come back, they have to catch up. They have to pay all the past due, whatever they didn't pay during the time that they were off, or during the time that they took time off, or the time that they default payments.
Yeah, that's a very good comment there, Pascal. Thank you so much for that. And I think what the slip that you might have gotten from the AVP there is the fact that if you within the presentation, the idea is each member for the first 2 years will pay $100, right? So the idea is if you come in as a new member, your first year, you pay that, your second year, you pay that. And then that is the foundational, the stabilization fund that we're talking about. Then
okay,
the conditions you are giving about, someone who slips in and slips out, of course, there is penalty, which is still there within the proposal that we have. And if there is an active BFU member and we roll out this program, and he's active means he should know all the information about the program, and he decided not to join the program now. What we're proposing is the idea that those people, if they later on are joining in the second year, they will still do those first 2 years of $100 and then level up with the rest of the person. But the fact is, if they join the first year, they will have a waiting period before they become eligible for benefit, just to kind of encourage people to enroll, right? But people who start off the program and enrolled, we will start off the benefit from that first year going forward, as long as we've agreed that the hybrid program is what will be what we've adopted. So that is the way I look at the catch up that we're talking about, and not that if somebody is coming after 5 years, then we'll have to calculate every contribution that has happened after the past 5 years for them to pay. I mean, that would be obviously very discouraging for any new member to join. So that is the idea of the catch up that we're talking about.
Okay, President. Thank you.
All right.
Yes,
let's not drag this too long. We're already
one hand up, Mr. President. There is more.
Yeah, President, you answered my question. You know how some people are always trying to benefit from something. We have seen, our experience with Saji is that there are people who have been here and they figure out that somebody is sick and is going to be dying, and then they rush to go pay and then expect to get benefit. So
yes,
and that is why those people who don't join the first year, like you said, there should be a waiting period for them to reap the benefit. And we know that there are always those people around the corner. And yes, you answered Pascal's question, as to the catch up. If the catch up was that you would have to pay the monies that you didn't pay for a number of years, that would be discouraging. But the fact that your benefits are tied to the year that the year of your commencement of payment makes sense. That's all I had to say.
All right.
Wonkuf, did you want to say something very quickly? You're muted, please.
No, I wanted to. I just wanted to come in on the same point, because my understanding was that I think Pascal was talking about the penalty, and it seemed like they were going to calculate and somebody pays like 200 at one time. So I wanted to come in to just say my understanding is that your own first year starts when you come in. Not that is your first year. My first year must have maybe 2023, and then if you come to United States in 2024 or 25, then your own first year starts then, and your benefit of 10,000 is that first year, and your own benefit is as you are coming in, not penalty. It's just when you start, that is when you are on membership, just as we start. So that is my understanding. And I just wanted to make sure that I send that in, not, which is different from someone who steps out and comes in. That person who is enrolling, who just came from Cameroon and joins and is starting, is having their first year and having their second year, even though I am already in my third year, but that person is starting their own first and second year. That was my understanding, and I think it's clarified.
All right. No, thanks so much, Wonko, for making that point. And Oga Coordinator.
It's very clear that the reaction from the from the comments says that's how it is, right? And that is a probation, it's not a punishment, right? And so the comments are very good. I think I want to, Mr. President, say thank you for doing the presentation for tonight. And this is our program. One of the comments says it is long overdue. One of the comments says it's long overdue, and that we really need to get this going. And so we are on the brink of history here, folks, and we're going to make it happen. We need it for our people. So, Mr. President, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for all of you who have stayed on and asked the questions. We are going to work on this and make it a program that is binding for all of us, members of BFU-USA, no matter where you are. And it's on that note, that we say thank you for all of you and have a great rest of your evening. Have a fantastic day ahead of you. And please stay tuned, because in the coming week, we are going to be launching the convention registration. We don't want to mix the two. All right? We are going to be launching the convention registration coming next week. Stay tuned. Have a fantastic day. And thank you for being members of BFU-USA. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.